So we'll start just rubbing the hands together. You can squeeze the fingers, interlock, or squeeze the hands. Just feel the sensation in your hands. Or tap the fingers together. And then we'll just start tapping around the skull, around the back of the head. Just lightly tapping and feeling the sensations, waking up sensations in the skull, around the head. And then taking the hands again, and you can just rub over the face, over the neck. Then we'll take the index finger and the thumb and just kind of squeeze around the ear, going around the edge of the ear. Squeezing and sort of pinching. And you can do a little tugging motion on the ear, the top, the back, bottom. Then again, taking those fingers and squeezing around the orbit of the eye, the top and the bottom. Pressing in, squeezing. You also take the fingers and, or this part, and just squeeze in towards the bridge of the nose, or press in. Then take the back of the thumb, the knuckle, and just circle lightly around the eye. So this was one of Chen Manqing's kind of chi massage exercises. You can also just take the palms over the eyes and just relax the eyes, or rest, blocking out the light and just resting the eyes for a moment. Then take the fingers and just rub at the temples, relax the muscles around the sides of the head, sides of the jaw. You can do that kind of pinching thing down the jaw. Again, just kind of rub the face and the neck, relax. Then we'll take either the palm or the fist or the edge of the hand and just sort of tapping on the muscle around the shoulder. You can either do it very lightly or you can do it with a bit more force, just to wake up the feeling in the muscle and relax. The other side. And we'll go down the arm to the fingers, then up the inside of the arm, down the outside. Then onto the other shoulder, down the arm, to the hand, up the inside. I should have mentioned with the fingers, there's also one of Chen Manqing's chi massages, just to kind of brush along the fingers. So you, if I remember correctly, start with the thumb out, index finger, middle finger, then back in with the last two. And just do that lightly. He specified a number of times that you do it, but I just do it a few times. Just feel the sensation as you do that. Okay, and then we're going to work down the torso, so you can start, again, maybe the fingers, fists or palms. Start on one side. For men and women, it's different. So for men, you might be able to hit this muscle. It's not recommended for women. For women, just over the collarbone maybe at this point. And the other side. So you could still be in the shoulder or just work down slightly. And a kind of Tarzan type thing. And then from here, going down the abdomen and then out down the sides. Again, you can do that just as much as you want. Okay, from there we'll take the palms and rub the kidney area. Again, another of Chen Manqing's Qi massage was to use the back of the hand circling like this on the kidneys. So it can be the back of the hand or the palm just rubbing. Okay, and then we're going to work down the legs. So we start around the buttocks, just around the muscles around there, and work down the legs. So just bending forward if you can, within the sides of the legs, around the feet, up the inside of the legs. You can go down the front of the leg, up the back of the leg. Then just kind of brushing off, so you can use the palms and just kind of brush. Shaking out. So just shake out the arms, shake out the hands. You can shake one leg, then the other. And you can kind of bounce and shake as well. Just shaking through the body. And then just slowly coming to relax. Okay, so hopefully with those exercises, just kind of self-massage, you've woken up the sensation in the body. So feeling deeply, more deeply into the body, more sensation on the legs, through the torso, through the hands, and on the face and the head. So with that feeling, we'll start to feel into the joints. So start with your wrist. Just feel the looseness in the wrist and the hand, the elbow, and the shoulder, just feeling those joints. And then the equivalent in the legs is the hips, the knees, and the ankles, but just relax the legs a little bit. So from straightening the knees, sit down, feel into the front of the feet, relax the hips. So we refer to these as the harmonies, the hips and shoulders, knees and elbows, ankles, wrists, hands and feet. So just to be kind of clear on the sensation of releasing, it's also can be helpful to tense up and then release. So if you tense your fist, clench your fist, feel the wrist locking, 1 or 2, and just slowly release the tension in the fist and let the wrist move. So you can go between tension, locking the joint, release, and mobilizing. Try that with the forearm and the elbow. So feel the tension, just hold it for a moment, release it, and allow the movement. So now you've got the hands, the wrists, the elbows loose. Again, tense more the kind of upper arm, the bicep, up towards the shoulder. Feel the muscles in the shoulder tensing. Release and just release the shoulders, elbows, wrists. Try that again. Focus on the shoulder area, upper arm. Release. Now you could work through all the muscles like that as well as the joints, but here we're just going to focus on the joints for a moment. So you've got the main joints in the arms and the hands. Now we'll try the same kind of feeling with the legs. It's different because you're not supporting your weight in your hands, so you can really loosen the arms completely. It would be like doing a handstand and trying to relax your arms because standing on the legs. But we just try and relax the joints without collapsing. So a nice way to do that is just to kind of swing and release. But just focus on the tension for a moment. So if you lock the knees, don't hurt yourself. Locking the hips might be more like pushing, tucking the tail under so the hips are locked, the knees are locked. And then I just release. So maybe try tensing the muscles in the legs. You can tense the feet and then relax. So try the tension, locking, and then releasing. Maybe tensing the arms will emphasize that release as well. So we tense the arms and the legs, then release them. Tense the feet or kind of scrunch up the feet. Lock your knees, lock your hips, then release. And you should feel a bit more clearly what the releasing of the joints is now. So the first set of exercises we're going to do in terms of movement has that feeling of the joints loose and the body mobile. So it's partly about releasing tension, partly about mobility and awareness of your joints. So feeling the movement, sensing the joints. It's proprioception, so your sense of the body position, the position of the joints. So we'll just go through a series of joint loosening exercises. Okay, so the first one we started there. We'll swing the arms up and down and just let the legs relax, kind of bouncing slightly. All very loose. So we're kind of like a rag doll, staying loose. And when we're talking about Tai Chi, this is not Tai Chi. This is just one facet of the practice, creating relaxation and looseness. Tai Chi involves yin and yang, multiple variations and different elements. So this is just ragdoll, or in Tai Chi sometimes described as overcooked spaghetti or cooked wet noodle Tai Chi. So that would be a mistake in Tai Chi to do it like this. But we start just by taking out the tension in the body. Okay, so you can do that. And then maybe try swinging one arm. And that allows a little turning in the hips. So you swing one arm and feel with your other hand that the body's turning. So try not to do it like that without the turn. Let the turning come through the joints. So all the joints are moving. And then we can swing the other arm, or one at a time, then together. Emphasizing loose, slightly heavy. So part of these exercises is a feeling of downward, slightly heavy, sinking the weight. In Tai Chi, they'll talk about sinking the chi. So you sink the chi. So the idea of not having the chi up, let it drop. Okay, another one, turning the arms loosely swinging around the body. You just let the arms wrap around, not holding them out. So you let the shoulder relax, let the arm relax. And on this video, we're going to go through a lot of the exercises, but you might just, if you're practicing, just pick a couple of them. You don't need to do half an hour of this, but the video we might show quite a few options. Okay, and this one you've got the option of shifting as well. So here I'd call this closing. So the weighted leg, the hip or the quad is folding. I could also turn the head. So you start to turn the upper body and the waist. Another variation would be opening on the weighted hip. So this way. It's a little bit harder, that one. So careful in this one that we don't damage your knee or twist your knee. So try and aim for the center of the foot and open the hip. And these movements we'll focus on later in a more detailed exercises. Okay, another rotation exercise is this one. So you can begin this one just here, just kind of swing the arms, one in front of the body, one behind. And that allows the turning. So it's different from wrapping round. We're swinging the arms up and down like wings. I'll show you from different angles so you can see the movement. So I could be in the center or shift slightly as I do that. And later you'll find we'll do a more detailed version of this. Again, just showing you from different angles. So one option is stay in the center, the other I shift. And you can also do it like this, so we don't turn, we just swing the arms, cross the arms. Again, later there's a variation of this with more detail. But just relax. Feel the elbow dropping. Elbow heavy. Heavy elbow. So the elbow moves down before the hands. Okay, just a few more of these kind of dropping the weight exercises. So I can imagine holding a ball and then just dropping it down. So drop the arms. You can let the arms kind of slap. And the thing to notice on this is that the first part I want to drop is the center of the body. So I just drop down in the legs, like from the abdomen. And that's what brings the arms down. So I drop the center and just loosen the arms. Or you can just practice drop the center. Again, just be careful with the joints. You're not forcing anything or hurting any joint. Dropping. Another one like that is like, imagine you're slapping water. You do that with two hands or one hand, maybe in a wider stance. We're just kind of dropping both hands down into a heavy feeling. We'll change the stance now and just take the foot forward and just loosely shifting the weight. Initially, you might kind of step up and down. The arms can swing and then the feet can be a bit more stable. I'm trying to find the balls of the feet on this movement. Front foot, back foot. Almost like I could walk forward or walk backwards. So we're working the springiness in the legs as well as the downward. So it's down and up. So make sure you're through the center of the front foot and the back foot. And change legs. And that can become, there's a kind of movement in capoeira, this basic movement called Jinga, and it's this springiness. So it's a useful movement between parallel and the bow stance on left and right. I could also, with this stance, try and recreate that sort of downward feeling, up and down. So there's down, but there's also up. So in the up, you want to feel a bit like you could spring up from the feet. So you relax down, and like I could jump up or at least lift the heels and think of jumping or floating upwards. So not moving forward and back, moving up and down. Change legs, try the same thing. So you've got the forward and back movement, but now you've got the up and down. Relaxing or dropping the weight, but then also feeling the jump or spring. And if you can jump, jump. If you can't, think of walking or just lifting your heels. When I jump, I use both feet equally, both legs equally. So another variation of that is you take one hand, swing one hand, and you're kind of aiming forward with the arm, but the body will naturally turn from the hips or from the center as you swing forward and back. So allow the turning of the hips and the torso. You can do like two hands swinging if you want, but one is maybe sufficient because it gets a bit confusing. So keeping the same leg forward, change the hands, swing the other arm forward, and notice you're turning the other way. Again, feel free to step or get more spring-like in the feet. You don't want to be completely heavy all the time, especially in the feet. So the feet want to be more springy than flat-footed. And then change legs. Start with one arm. And explore your full range of motion, within reason. Stretch out the legs to a comfortable, large stance that you still feel able to move in. If I get too big, I can't really move, I'm stuck. But explore that limit when you can still move, but you're stretching the stance. And again, try the other arm. You can change between small stance, stretching out longer. And for that exercise, especially notice that it's the legs and the hips and the waist and the arm. It's not just the arm, it's the whole body, forward and back. That's why stepping is useful, because you have to connect the legs and the feet. I could stand there and do that just from my shoulder, stepping, using the legs. And there's a lot of Tai Chi movement that involves this type of movement. It's an important mobilizing of the body, the legs, and the waist for Tai Chi practice. In that stance, you could do this kind of thing, but we need to be careful that the swing of the arms is not too much that it starts to distort the knees. So the forward swing is a bit easier. The round the body might have a tendency to twist the knees, but you can try it and just notice that. So it's trying to stay centered in both feet, not twisting your knees. So you might feel you're turning the waist more than the hips. Try both sides. And for this one, maybe just stay centered, so don't shift the weight so much, just turning centered in the feet, with both feet equally. Some turning in the hips, turning in the waist. Okay, so like I was saying, Tai Chi involves yin and yang. So there's up and down, left and right, forward and back, inside, outside, clockwise, anti-clockwise, different directions. When we're going loose, we might initially emphasize the down, but from down comes up. So it's like bouncing a ball. When it goes down, it rebounds. So the rebound is a natural phenomenon. When you relax down, you'll get a rebound. It's like I've just hit the ground and sprung back up again. So there's a spring-like feeling in the legs and the feet and the body. So we'll look at that as a kind of stretching as well next time. But for now, again, just noticing when you relax, it's quite natural to jump or spring back up again. Like a ball bouncing, just feel when you drop into the feet, it's a natural spring up and down. And it is like walking, so you put the foot down and then you walk forward. So there's an up and down in each step. So you can try that just kind of walking on the spot, feel the relaxing and then stepping. And then see if you can do that on one leg. So you just kind of bounce on one leg, relax. So this is from one of the Qigong forms, like you're bouncing a ball on one leg. It could be like you're going to spring out of one leg or hop. Just a little bounciness. So you have to kind of have the joints loose or open to be able to do that. If I'm locked in the knee and try and hop, it's going to be horrible. So you have to have a freedom in the joints, forces you to do it. Okay, with the weight on one leg and the springiness through the leg, we'll try and circle the other leg, but keep this leg like a spring. And we're just making a circle forward and out. Again, releasing and mobilizing the hip and keeping the other leg alive. Just relax the shoulders and the arms as you do that. So it's just a loosening, circling movement in the leg. Or you can just kind of shake the leg out, release, circle. Then change to the other side, keep the springiness, relax the whole body, circle, big circle with your knee, ankle, hip, moving. If I make little circles with the arms, it just keeps the whole body released. Maybe hard to see that angle, so you see the circle there. Trying to make it as large and smooth as possible. It might feel a bit jagged, like you can't quite get a circle. It's angular, so eventually release and smooth the circle out. Then we'll take the feet together and just circle both knees. Feel the weight shifting around in the feet, allow that to happen. So not trying to stay centered. Circle around. And then we'll focus on the feet, the weight distribution in the feet for a minute. So that was this kind of feeling of circling and coming onto the edges of the feet, the back, the heel, the front of the foot. So I can go like that, circling around, a bit like I'm on a boat trying to balance. Or I can just go back and forward, just the weight swinging forward and back in the feet. I can go into the edges of the feet, so like the karate chop edge of your foot, slightly. It depends what shoes you're wearing. So I'm wearing these kind of barefoot shoes. It's easy to move the foot. Go into the inside edge slightly, through the center, outside edge. Then the circles could be like here, like both feet circling the same way. Or I could try and go sort of opposite circles. Be very careful with your knee. So it's really to mobilize the foot and the ankle, not to hurt your knee. And if we had more, we're doing more like a yoga practice with the teachers I train with in yoga, they do a lot of mobilizing of the foot itself. Things like taking the fingers between the toes and moving around, moving the heel, twisting the foot slightly just to get movement into the foot. So it's very important. If your feet seize up and you can't move your toes, it makes the movement of the whole body impaired. So the more you can articulate and feel the feet, the better. So for Tai Chi, you don't want it. You could probably do it in wellies or big boots, but ideally, shoes that are flexible with a thin sole, or if it's a warm place, you could do it in bare feet. But it's up to you what you wear. But generally, unless you've got orthopedic shoes or something like that, then best not to wear big, thick trainers. So you can feel the movement of the bones in the feet. You can feel the foot. Okay, so another circling movement, just circling the pelvis. Again, the weight might shift around in the feet, so you allow that to happen. And make as big and smooth a circle with the whole of the pelvis as you can. See from this side. So I'm kind of bending from the hip area in the circle. I'm not trying to sort of, some people do this like trying to control the pelvis like a kind of Shakira type move. It's not, you could do that. That'd be a different thing. But here we're just kind of more like a sort of hula hoop or something, swinging in a big circle. So it's not a controlled movement. I'm not trying to control the hips. It's just a circle smoothly in a circle. There's a difference between that also in this. People sometimes do this when I'm asking them to do that. That's me moving more from the spine. The hips aren't really moving there. We could do that later. But for now, from the pelvis, circle. And I usually find after you've done that, it's useful to go back to this one and see if you can feel the hip joints moving. Feels a bit freer, feel the feet. So you have a bit more awareness now through the legs. So you can try some of these other movements. So that was when I was talking about this one. We're trying to find now movement in the spine. So you can kind of circle gently from around the diaphragm, or you can just choose a sort of sideways movement, or opening the back, opening the front. you could explore the same from the previous movement as well. I could just go sort of forward and back here, like I'm on a swing. And I'm touching the fingers in towards the hip joint, so I feel that folding, swinging forward. The forward swinging would be like pushing the tail forward, then sitting in the hips, tail swings forward, hips swing back. So like you're sitting on the swing and somebody's pushing you forward and then you swing back. Again, I'm not trying to control the pelvis on its own. I'm letting the whole body move. And it's kind of a released movement rather than a controlled movement. It's not, the movement's not focused here. It's just releasing from here. Sideways version of that is kind of a bit weird. You would never really do that in Tai Chi, but it might be useful to feel this kind of sideways movement of the pelvis. In a sense, it's useful for knowing you don't want to be standing like that. Find the center of that swing. So the evenness in the hips, but making them uneven can be useful just to feel the difference forward and back. There's more of this movement in Tai Chi than that. Not so much that, but there's definitely this. Then coming up here, maybe just have a feeling of stretching up through the abdomen. We'll do that more next week. Finding your ribs, finding the kind of sideways movement, like a reptile. Then you've got the forward and back movement, which is flexion and extension. I could focus that in different areas of the spine, so it might be more lower, trying to open behind the navel or above the sacrum, then more maybe in the center, in the upper spine, more from the shoulders. So it's all different flexion and extension pattern. In Tai Chi, we'll focus on this area quite a bit. They call it Ming Men, so behind the navel. And that kind of opening here is something that we'll talk about. Described like a turtle, so the turtle position. So it can open out and then try and feel the back is like a turtle shell. Then open out again and fold in, or turtle. And you can just feel the whole of the spine, and also the feeling of like this direction. So round this way, not just in this way. So I'm wrapping, or like a cylinder, or the turtle shell. So the turtle shell has a curve here. It also has a curve around here. So it's like a part of a sphere almost. So you have that feeling in the back, or this feeling. So if I take the hands here, I can imagine I'm flexing the spine like a bow and then releasing, or stretching up, flexing like a bow, then stretching the front. That's kind of different emphasis to the turtle, which is more the equator lines, if you like, rather than this one. So you can do lots of different versions of that flexion, extension. Another simple one is like embracing the body, then opening out. And that can emphasize stretching open the chest, so you can do it at different angles. Be careful with the shoulders, you don't overstretch. Open out. Again, in Tai Chi, this is not a position of Tai Chi, really. It's more the opposite that's common or taught, but it's good to do one and the other. So again, yin and yang. So you open the front, then open the back. Try different angles. Open the chest. Relax the chest. Another movement that goes with that is rotating, internal rotation and external rotation of the limbs. So turning the hands in and then out. And then I'll try and do, maybe take the weight into one leg and turn one foot in and then out. So you start to mirror the pattern in the feet and the arms. Here I'm flexing the spine slightly, then extending. Turning the feet and the hands in, one foot is rotating just so you can stay stable. You could try it like that and that, but it's maybe a bit difficult depending on what surface you're on. And that's maybe a bit more not so functional because you want to have like an anchor maybe for this movement. So you can try the other foot. So this foot's like an anchor or like a hinge or something. And the rest of the body moves around it. You might have the knees or the feet close together. You could feel something like that. Rest the knees together, then open them. Close the thighs, then open. And you could do something similar with the hands up. So closing, closing, opening. Something else you can start to do with that movement is roll the shoulders. So we'll roll the shoulders up and back, or floating them, think floating. Then I can roll the shoulders up and forward. Up and back, up and forward. Not forcing any of these movements. So you don't want to pull on the shoulder, just moving freely. As I'm doing that, I can be sort of flexing the spine, extending slightly. And just articulating the movement. So it's coming through the feet, it's coming through the whole body. From there, we can start to articulate the elbows and the hands and the wrists. So we've kind of done that on the loosening exercises. And starting maybe to move the fingers a little bit. Just creating movement in the joints and fingers. So in the practice of Bagua, they'll call the hands like snakes. So you've got this snaking and wrapping, coiling in the hands. One of the exercises do with one hand, something like this. The other hand. Both hands. It's a bit more advanced, that one. But it just gets you the feeling of the winding of the arms, the articulation of the hands, the elbows, shoulders. Let the head relax. Just making a small kind of circle. You could also just gently turn the head a little bit. You can turn the body or you can isolate the head movement. Just maybe looking round. So just to finish, just feel what the body feels like. You can walk around a little bit. Just feel the joints, feel the sense of mobility in the legs and the arms. And hopefully some release of tension.